problem.
All righty, we'll call the meeting to order. Madam Clerk, will you call the roll, please?
Ernestine. Here. Chuck. Sean.
Here.
Rick.
Here.
Sam. Here. Bonnie.
Here.
All righty, we have a quorum. If you don't care to stand, Chuck, you need some prayer, please.
Dear Lord, we're thankful to be able to gather here tonight and discuss the business of our city. And Lord, we just pray that as we make our decisions and do our business, that we do so according to your will. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Thank you. Motion pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All righty, in your package, you've got the August minutes. Any of these additions, deletions, or changes? If not, entertain a motion to approve.
I'll make that motion.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Also, financial reports are in your packet.
I'll make a motion we approve the financial report as presented.
Second.
Having a motion second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Sarah, we're down to you already.
Okay. So this evening I have the entire project list for the city of Jenkins, but I wanted to focus on the wastewater treatment plant because I'm working on that project. We decided to move forward with trying to get ARC funding for that. So I'm still awaiting the cost estimate from Paul Nesbitt. I have called him. The deadline for that is October 31st, so we will have it before then. And then I also wanted to bring up recreation economy for rural communities. I know that the community action plan was completed last month, but that's really all the details I have because Melissa is at the ARC conference right now.
Well, lucky her, she could get in.
I know.
She can't get in. It filled up quick because then the waiting list got full. Is that all you want to talk about? And I'll hit the rest of them here.
Yep.
One thing, the ADA renovations for City Hall, that's in motion. That started with trying to get a new roof, which we need desperately, but we were able to get a CDBG facilities grant to do the elevator and some ADA improvements for it. But in our packet, I'm trying to find it, I'll get to it in a minute, is another project we're working on to do the actual roof and some other renovations. We install new ballistic secure transaction windows for the clerks. There'll be a new pavement drop box through wall that we can pick up in the mornings and not just that box hanging on the wall like we got. Be the roof replacement, new LED interior lighting, so it'll also be security and high energy efficiency type upgrades to help with the power bills. I've asked for a solar piece for this project. We might not got it ready yet, but we're hoping we can work solar into it. You guys have that on there. Anyway, just some more little improvements out front. We're doing some stuff upstairs. The leaking roof is messed up and going with that. Jenkins I&I, we're working on that one. We've got some ARC money to match another grant for that. And we've applied for some House Bill 9 money to match another part. Raven Rock Water and Sewer Extension, is that still a placeholder? We're trying to keep that project alive. We've got a community funding request in for federal money to try to help with that. We're looking to hear about that one anytime. The flood risk project 1, we have procured, you all helped us procure the engineers. They're waiting on the final letter from us. We're making sure their cost is going to be in line with the budget we've got to work with. We'll sign that letter Wednesday and they'll get started on that. On top of that money, we received another $116,000 in mitigation money toward work around the dam, so we're hoping to add that to the full project once the engineers are through and we get the study done. We've sort of been promised some DR money from a 21 storm it's not really related to this one, but we're able to seek that money and get it. Lead service line inventory, this is something you are going to be hearing about. This is something we have to do. We're in good shape in town from the plant to most of the meters, but this survey will also include from the meter to the homes. And they've started this project. There's been some changes in it about 3 times, and we're waiting on final decision on how that goes forward. I'm hoping with another group out of West Virginia that if it comes time to do that, we'll be able to replace lines from the meters into their homes with the help of that. In that way, we'll be new from the plant to their faucets. The grant for Jenkins Police, it's submitted. I don't know which one that is. It doesn't say. Park renovations, we're getting stuff together to do that. Part of the money match was sort of used during the floods, and we're looking at getting some help with some in-kind types of donations with work to help put up the roofing, and I've talked to some contractors that talk like they're going to help us with that, so we may even have a work day where we can go over and help. We can do the labor part of it, we can still use the $66,000 for materials. Trail development project, that one we're still waiting on the workbook on how we're going to spend the money and how that works out, but all that stuff's moving. CRAD does a lot, and we appreciate their work. So if you don't want to hang around for all this, you're welcome to head back.
I'll stay.
All right. Now, engineer's report. I'll be the engineer too. Sewer I&I Phase 1, and again, to tell you what that is and why it's important is over time you have breaks in sewer line or manholes or wherever, and water will get in, storm water can get in, and when it does, it puts a lot of water on the sewer plant and sort of taxes what they can do down there with it. Building that capacity, because that water counts just like it come from your house and not from just the creek or anywhere else. To having the capacity to be able to promote the industrial park, that puts us close to our capacity most of the time, and to build that capacity to be able to keep promoting the park, it's real important that we get that done. Flood recovery, housing assistance development, they're still helping with sites and looking at different places that maybe that could work. City Hall we talked about, roof we talked about. Also, along with I&I, we're looking at doing some repairs and expansion at the sewer plant just to help with process and capacity again with it. And all these others is project profiles. The way this works, we do a project profile, we put it in the system. If there's money that comes through federal or state or ever how it comes through, any of the senators or congressmen can look at our projects and say, okay, here's some money, who's got what projects, and that sort of helps us match up and keeps those projects out there in front of them so they know what all we're working on. All right, I guess I'll be your assist too. Flood recovery report. B&O Hill and Upper Dunham Road, the railing cribbing was done. They did it quickly. But as a matter of fact, they was in and out of Dunham before we knew they were up there. We tried to schedule and let people know, and we did about B&O Hill, about them being working. There's a couple issues. One, when we paved, we'll take care of it because water come down the road, went under the railing cribbing and shot out in Quinn Bowden's yard. With the blacktop and the curb was going to take care of that. There's a couple things on the upper one we need to do. Number 2, I'm knocking on wood on this one. I met with one of the supervisors with Paving Solutions out of Huntington, West Virginia. They got the bid. It's a good bid. They're a good company. They've done a lot of work with FEMA and for FEMA through and around Johnson County and Paintsville. So we will be out starting on FEMA roads that are qualified. There's a few issues about the way the inspectors look at the road on one side for a little bit, the other side for a little bit, and another inspector will look at the entire width of the road for the length of the road. So we're working through that with FEMA to try to get that. But They plan on starting soon, and as soon as maybe next week, but if nothing goes wrong, but sometimes things go wrong. Debris removal contract for stormwater runoff, the pond up here, you know, it filled up after the storms, and that keeps the sediment and silt and stuff from running in the lake and filling it up any worse. But I met with the contractor, and they're supposed to get started pretty soon on that one. Not on this, also the culvert in Dairy Hall, the culvert in Dunham, there's a couple more. Those contracts should be getting let pretty soon, that we can start changing those out and repairing the road on top of those also.
They're gonna actually remove the sediment,
Yeah, 433 cubic yards.
I mean, not just pile it up like.
No, it has to be, well, it'll be hauled off. They will set it out for a while, let it drain, reduce the weight of the water, but no, it leaves there this time. And it has to go to a certified landfill or a approved borrow pit. We were not interested in an approved borrow pit because we have to track the dirt where it's at, and if we use it later, we have to track where that dirt goes. It has to be GPS every time it moves, and I'd like for it to go to its final rest, where that is. So that's it. A lot of stuff going on, a lot of good stuff. It's finally headed the right direction, and you know, like I said, and I was talking to some people at a meeting yesterday, it's been a year and a day that the money finally started coming into the bank. I ain't picking on anybody in particular. It goes through the FEMA process, and then we have to sort of fight back and forth about how much it's worth, and then get bids on it. And then FEMA sends the money to the state, obligated is that way, and then the state approves it, sends it back to us, and the state's quick on their end, but the process on the front end is, I understand what some people's went through with their homes. I can't imagine their homes being destroyed, but just back and forth and the paperwork and tracking and keeping up with it. But, with ER Assist and Robin and April and all of them helping, we're keeping our head, I don't want to say keeping our head above water, but in the middle of the flood, but anyway, we're sort of maintaining what we need to do to keep all that moving in the right direction. Alrighty, Counselor, we got budget amendment 259A, second reading. If you're ready.
This is second. Yes. All right, second reading budget amendment 259-A. Second reading of the budget amendment ordinance number 259-A, amending the City of Jenkins budget for the fiscal year July 1st, 2022 to June 30th, 2023 to include non-budgeted receipts from the National Opioid Grant Funds in the amount of $27,041.98 and increasing expenditures in the area of grant funds, non-budgeted receipts from East Kentucky Safe Funds in the amount of $70,242 and increasing expenditures in the area of grant funds, non-budgeted receipts from property sales in the amount of $12,000 and increasing expenditures in the area of B&D funds, non-budgeted receipts from Kentucky League of Cities insurance services in the amount of $64,496 for damages from flooding and increased expenditures in the area of general funds. Non-budgeted receipts from LGEA coal severance tax in the amount of $20,822 and increasing expenditures in the area of LGEA funds non-budgeted receipts from mineral tax in the amount of $29,418 and increasing expenditures in the area of LGEA mineral tax funds non-budgeted receipts from net profit tax in the amount of $2,777 and increasing expenditures in the area of general funds non-budgeted receipts from water revenue in the amount of $11,973 and increasing expenditures in the area of utility revenue funds. Non-budgeted receipts from PH5 Waterline Project in the amount of $44,239 and increasing expenditures in the area of PH5 Waterline Project will be held at the City Council meeting on September 11, 2023 at Jenkins City Hall at 7 o'clock p.m. A copy of the ordinance with full text is available for public inspection at the office of City Clerk. during normal business hours, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 4 o'clock p.m.
Alrighty, that's the second reading. If there's no discussion that we need to go over, entertain a motion to approve the budget amendment 259A.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Having a motion and a second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. All right, thank you. AEP franchise, this will be the first reading. I'm going to let the summary go over this. It's essentially the same as before. There is one provision that we could go up 1% for a special project type thing, only with your all approval. I'd just like to have that in there, because if we run into something in this long-term recovery planning of a big project that would really be beneficial, it may be a way to have some revenue to help support and get it in place. But other than that, it's going to be identical to what we have now. All right, go ahead.
This will be an abbreviated reading. It's the first reading in 9/11/23. An ordinance creating and establishing for bid a non-exclusive electric franchise authorizing the franchisee to own, maintain, operate, and construct facilities for the transmission, distribution, and sale of electrical energy within the public right-of-way for the city of Jenkins for a 10-year term in consideration of payments to the city of Jenkins of the sum of 3%, parens 3%, close parens, of the revenues received by the franchisee from electrical services provided by the franchisee within the corporate limits of the city of Jenkins, separate from and exclusive of any local tax, state tax, and fuel costs, reserving the right to increase said franchise fee to up to 4%, parens 4%, close parens, of the franchisee's revenues received by the franchisee from electrical service provided by the franchisee inside the city of Jenkins corporate limits, separate from and exclusive of any local tax, state tax, and fuel cost, and further providing for compliance with relevant laws, regulations, and standards, indemnification, insurance, cancellation, or termination, and bid requirements, all effective on day of passage of the ordinance granted the franchise. Content, be read in an abbreviated form, be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Jenkins, Section 1, Subpart A, subject to the provisions of this ordinance, there is hereby created a non-exclusive franchise to enter upon, lay, acquire, construct, operate, own, maintain, install, use, and repair in the right-of-way of the city. The system will work for the generation, transmission, distribution of electrical energy within the corporate boundaries of the city as the boundaries now exist, or may thereafter be extended to persons and entities beyond said boundary. Section 2, the following definitions apply to this ordinance. Definition for city council, company, facility, government, party or persons, public utility, right-of-way. Section 3, subpart A. The franchise created herein shall be non-exclusive and shall continue for a term of 10 years from the effective date of the ordinance granting the franchise. Subpart B. The company may, at its option, terminate this franchise upon 45 days written notice. Subpart C. The city may, at its option, terminate this franchise upon 45 days written notice. Section 5, this ordinance shall become effective on the date of its passage. Section 7, the grantee of this franchise shall save the city harmless from and all liability arising in any way from the negligence of the company in the erection, maintenance, or operation of said lines and appurtenances. Section 8, as compensation for the franchise created by this ordinance, the city shall receive the payment of a total annual fee of 3% of the revenues received from the company from the provisions of electrical service within the corporate limits of the city. Section 10, the company agrees to charge such rates and rates as may from time to time be fixed by the Public Service Commission. Section 11, companies shall have the right to trim and cut trees in order to maintain its equipment and facilities. Section 15, it shall be the duty of the city's mayor or his/her designee to offer for sale franchise and privileges created hereunder. Said franchise and privilege shall be sold to the highest and best bidder or bidders at a time and place fixed by the city's mayor after he or she has given due notice thereof by publication or advertisement as required by law. Section 16, bids and proposals for the purchase and acquisition of the franchise and privileges hereby created shall be in writing and shall be delivered to the city's mayor or his/her designee upon the dates and at the times fixed by him or her in said publication or advertisement for receiving the same. Thereafter, the city's mayor shall report and submit to city council at the time of the next regular meeting or as soon as practical thereunder, said bids and proposals for its approval. The city council reserves the right for and on behalf of the government to reject any and all bids for said franchise and privileges, and in case the bids reported by the city's mayor shall be rejected by the city council, it may direct by resolution or ordinance said franchise and privileges to again be offered for sale from time to time until a satisfactory bid therefore shall be received and approved. First reading, 9/11/23, second reading, blank. Signature line, Mayor, City of Jenkins, attestation, clerk, City of Jenkins, published.
All right, that's first reading into the record, and we'll put it on at the next meeting.
One thing I'm going to interject here that, they said that they will the revenues are exclusive from taxes and fuel costs and that. I'm going to look to see if there's a way we could exclude the closing costs of the power plants that were shut down for no reason, because we shouldn't have to pay. And then therefore we're paying 3% tax on top of that. So if we can delete that out of it, that would make more sense. And I'll bring a copy of some of the bills and next time we'll look at that. Just the revenues for electric service only, not all that other stuff. There's 10 line items that they could charge for. And it takes 10 lawyers and 6 professors to understand what half of that is.
We've been doing that, yeah.
And I don't know what it is. And I've been dealing with power bills for 40 years.
I don't know either.
Call them, they can't explain it, do you?
No, you call them, they don't know. They said it's just money that we want from you.
Yeah, pay it for
So
it.
pay it.
We turn your power off.
Well, they're getting it. Yeah,
Maybe we might have something that work, but
yeah. Like the solar panels.
All righty, motor vehicle water and property tax rate. We talked about it last time, and we tabled it till I can get you an idea. The 2% reduction that Sean mentioned would be about $2,400. That's not a lot, but those little bits add up. When you all, and I was there too, dropped the property tax rate down, we lost around 41,000 in that piece. We did away with city stickers, which I agree with. That was a good thing. We lost 13,000. What we're facing right now is just in the FEMA buyout alone, we've got 20 homes in the city limits that's in that buyout program. So if they all take advantage of the buyout program, that's about $728,000 and some odd dollars in assessments that we're going to lose on top of that.
do we know for sure if they're gonna take that?
We don't, and you don't until the last day they close. Now, out of the 20 of them,
Already some have been approved.
yeah, they're being approved, and there's a percentage that usually don't follow through. They don't always, because I asked that question, does everybody always go to the end? And they said not always, but they can't tell you if 18 or 19. Now, that's just the FEMA buyout. There's the NRCS buyout, which is a separate buyout program. They could be in the same buyout program and take advantage of either one. There could be a few more homes involved in RCS that's not involved in FEMA, so it could be more homes than that. But as of right now, what I could find out is at least 20 homes are in the buyout program right now, and the assessed value for those homes is about $728,000. So we'll lose the revenue off of that on top of the other. What I would ask and for you to consider is, I agree. I pay them too, and I'd like to get to work. It's easier on everybody, but if we can wait a year and see how the housing development we're working on, the one I'm getting ready to talk to you all about, works out, and if we can build our tax base back way above that $728,000 that we're losing, which I think we can, then we can look at every avenue of it. We can look at property tax, we can look at the ad val and other areas. You know, one of the things we're facing right now, we need 3 more policemen, and we just can't recruit policemen with the salaries and things we're working with. We're doing the best we can with what we got, and trying to make every dollar count. So, and that's not a pity plea. That's just the state of the city right now. So, anybody have any thoughts on what?
How many homes is there possible on the new?
The last conceptual drawing was 111 in the Commonwealth part of it, with another 34, 35 in private lots around that. So there's opportunity there for this to make a difference. But we've got to make it until those hit the line.
Mayor, can I make a suggestion that they table this motion until you talk about the Homes project, because that'll be a more immediate project?
Yeah.
And then we can come back, after you tell them about that, you can come back and retable the tax bill consideration. Would that be all right? The council wants to be informed, I'm sure, of all avenues.
Yeah, we got it out there on here. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to show you, both sides. I see, and I understand and agree. I just know we've got to live between now and when those actually get built and they're on the tax roll. So there's light in that way, but it's not here right now. So
I might say the buyout programs totally take this property off the board. Because I'm participating in this program. And when you make your deed to the county, that property it has no tax value at all, and it can never be used or improved for anything. So it's just a dead zone. I call it, they call it returning into nature. But
Where does it go to? I mean, there's no tax base, no nothing.
no, it's just sits there. It'll belong to the county or the
the
city.
county will take title, but there are so many deed restrictions.
So they'll never be able to do anything.
You can't even plant a garden.
Will they take title on the ones in the city limits too?
Yes.
Or will they?
No, they will. They're handling the money. It'll be a deed in their name.
Can you turn it into parks, green space?
Well, it'd be a weed space. They
I
can't.
mean, so if somebody mows the
No,
grass.
you can't mow the grass. You can't put concrete. You can't plant nothing.
So it's just non-existent, but it's there.
Yeah.
Well, it'd be an eyesore
It'd be like
if you can't mow the
inside
grass.
the
We're gonna have all these houses
It's gonna be
with
taken care of.
grass, I mean, we're gonna have all these lots with
Well,
grass over the,
I can foresee a problem with our weed ordinance.
I can too.
And I don't know what we're gonna
They
do.
say they plant some trees and bushes that doesn't.
Take the buyout, and it's already looks like a buyout.
I've asked that question.
Well,
And depends on which buyout program they're in, what they can do. So
Yeah, that's true.
No,
there is a little bit of hope that we can manage this.
In Pineville, that was brought up, and they said, they used the term green space, parks, that they could convert it to, but it's no buildings. Is what they were talking about.
Executive session discussion before.
Well, no,
I mean,
we
that's
can
what
do
we
is
said.
just lay this on the
This is the
table
first time
right
I've
now.
heard that. We
Just-
can't do
We can make a
anything.
motion, listen table, we'll go into executive session, talk about that way. And that's just
That's a push to get that program set up. Here, either side gets set out, and it turns out and this is good one, so.
It's just like a full tube.
Yeah.
Are you not talking about table for the?
Oh, I was just suggesting that the council table the revenue question until they hear the report on homes, which is next. Just as
Later in
soon
the
as you
meeting.
hear
Yeah.
the homes report.
Oh, okay.
Tonight.
In the
Yeah.
executive
Yeah,
session.
tonight.
Okay,
All right,
I got you.
let's,
Yeah, 2 minutes.
No.
So if you want to, just make a motion table it till we come out of executive
I'll make a
session.
motion table.
I'll second it.
Okay. All those in favor of holding on that till we get back from the executive session, say aye. Alrighty, let's go ahead and get this one out of the way. We need to do a new bank account for FEMA funds. Robin's done a good job trying to manage what's coming in and out in other accounts, but it's going to get to the point that it's going to be a lot easier to manage if we have one just set aside for the FEMA funds, so we know what's in there and where it's to go. So somebody just make a motion for us to create a new FEMA fund account at Community Trust Bank.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
Motion second, all in favor, say aye. Any opposed, same sign. Let's go ahead and knock a roadblock request out that way. We've got one request for a roadblock with football boosters, I think. No conflict with it?
No conflict.
No conflict, so.
I'll make the motion, we accept it.
I'll second.
Football team in boosters. All right, got a motion second, all in favor, say aye. Would entertain a motion to go into executive session to talk about negotiations with property.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All right, got a motion second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Executive session. All righty, folks, we'll be in here for a little bit.
Motion come out of executive session.
Second.
Got a motion second coming out of executive session, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Already on the homes proposal, anybody like to make a motion on that?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, how do you want to word to accept the homes proposal for economic development and flood relief?
Yes.
Okay.
I second.
All righty, motion second, all in favor say aye. Any opposed? All righty, now we'll make a motion to bring the property tax rate back off the table.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, got a motion to bring the property tax, let me reword that, motor vehicle and watercraft property tax back off the table. Got a motion, have a second?
Second.
All right, second, all in favor?
Aye.
All righty, we're back on the motor vehicle, watercraft, and property tax rate. It is now .3299.
I'd like to make a motion, we take it to 3199.
All righty, we have a motion to take it to .3199.
I second.
Got a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All righty, that passes. We got the roadblock out of the way. I think we're in good shape. Police report. We lost the
You
police.
noted on the fire department, you said.
Okay, let's go, we'll flip through it right fast while he's on here. 75 complaints, 2 domestic violence, 4 welfare checks, 36 citations, 54 verbal warnings, 47 arrests, 29 warrants, 5 drug related. And then he's talking about Jenkins days. Went fairly well. I was sort of tickled and talked to a lot of people, and it didn't seem as busy as it has been in the past, but they all said they made pretty good money and wanted to come back again next year.
Well, the weather didn't cooperate.
Well, it slowed down a little bit, but I do want to say the festival committee and the city employees and the fire department and all the ones that works to get it going and get it started and then takes care of life here, it's a lot of work. I see it. There's a lot of late nights and early mornings getting all that put together, and I think it's a good time for people to come together and the class reunions and family reunions and all that. So we're tickled with what went on with that. One other thing, while I'm already talking, it's September 11th, so remember the first responders and all those. And here's the fact you may not know: out of the 343 firemen that lost their life in tires that day, there's been an additional 342 that's lost their lives related to that with cancer and different issues. So it's almost double what happened that day. So a lot of times people take for granted that people that step into emergency services, and it's just like our fire department. They spend their time to be trained. They got to get 400 hours to be able to go do that. And the police department, fire department, I appreciate everything they do, and not just here, but the county and the state as well. So just, we remember 9/11 in that way.
And they also benefit the citizens because of lower fire insurance rates.
Yeah, that's, keeping the ISO rating is truly the art, all the things you have to do. And I remember when I started on the fire department, a new Class A pumper was about $99,000. You can't touch one for less than $250,000 right now. Used to about $2,800 to $3,500 you could equip somebody to go through the door. It's knocking on 20 grand right now, just for how much the devices, you know, the air packs and things that you have. So it's hard to believe that, well, the air pack's about $8,700, just a cheap one right now. It's unreal. Now, we have a unique situation in Jenkins is with the help of the city and with the fire department raising money and doing what they do. Partnership allows them to have good equipment. We help them out in ways that the other departments don't get the benefit, but that loosens them up to be able to raise money to help purchase this stuff. So with grants and the work and the car washes and stuff they do. So anyway, I appreciate that, Rick. I want to, thank them again for what they do. Long-term recovery plan is starting. We're having meetings. We're working on, it's called a PEP, and I can't tell you what that means right now, but anyway, we're listing projects and in a way that they can be moved forward. They will be starting in November public meetings, and I urge everybody to come to the public meetings. So this is the long-term recovery plan. What are we looking to do with the disaster recovery money that's available through the 4663 plan? Our dam work and all this is through the 4595 piece right now, but we're looking at capturing all the money we can for a lot of projects. So, and these public meetings I've heard, they'll say, I want a target, I want, and that's fine. We want to see where people want to be in the next 3 or 4 years, what they want to see as far as the city. And just to be honest, are we going to be in this city hall forever? It's close to the floodplain. Are we going to have to move city hall? Do we need to move the fire station? Do we need to raise buildings up? There's a lot of things that we're going to have to think of. I wanted to think of that at the start, but the way they do it is you get built back, then you look at your long-term planning. But I'll have somebody from the DCEMC partners come and sort of help kick that off and talk about the public meetings and how this works. So we have an opportunity over the next, well, I'll say 4 years, but even longer, to make a difference in what we're doing. And with recreation, tourism, downtown, we've got the RERC study she mentioned that we're getting ready to work through. We've got the data from retail strategies. One thing that's really interesting with just one piece of that, the population 2,200 and whatever it is right now today, there's a door swing rate of over 20,000. I'm not going to try to nail it down because I can't remember the numbers exactly, but in the daytime population, a little over 24,000. And pretty much what that means is all the people that travels back and forth through here, whether they're going to Pike County, Wise County, or back to Elkhorn or Neon, those folks, and they use your phone to tell what's going on. Every time that door swings and you go through there for your phone, they sort of understand what's going on. So we've got a lot of good data to make a good pitch, to do a lot of good projects. And all this stuff is sort of built over time. Stuff we were working on before the flood is being real handy on what we're doing going forward. So between the Reagan Wright projects and our vineyard and all the things that's happening in and around town, the shooting range, the airport's back on, should have a letter of decision by spring on the federal correctional facility. So of all times that we need housing is now. And if we don't make the best of it, shame on us. So we're working. Council got anything tonight? Well, I'm thinking I'm forgetting something, but that's everything I got wrote down. So I appreciate y'all coming out tonight. I appreciate y'all's effort. I'll be talking to you about the invitation for that. I was talking about a while ago, just as soon as I get that new business.
Is that this Thursday?
This Thursday, 14.
What time? 6 to 8?
6 to 8. So I'll meet up with you when we got a firm.
It'll be here.
No. Entertain a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Got a motion saying, all those in favor, say aye.
Hey, before everybody goes, I just want, since camera's off and we're done in session, we done, Jamie?